Imbibition by raisins. Introduction. Water is the most important constituent of plants and is essential for the maintenance of life, growth and development. Transportation of water into and through a plant takes place by different processes like osmosis and diffusion. Imbibition is the process of absorption of water by the particles of solid substances without forming a solution. Swelling of seeds when immersed in water is an example of imbibition. The substance that imbibes water is called imbibant, and the liquid which is imbibed is called absorbent. Substances such as cellulose and starch are hydrophilic, that's water-loving, and are imbibants. The raisins swell up when soaked in water due to imbibition. After the raisins have soaked up the water, the raisin cells become fully stretched. The difference in mass between the swollen and dry raisins gives the amount of water imbibed by the raisins. Materials required: about 30 raisins with intact stalks, a small beaker, distilled water, spatula, electronic balance, blotting paper, and a petri dish. Procedure: take about 20 dry raisins. Weigh the raisins using an electronic balance and note the weight. In this case, the weight of the dry raisins is 12.370 grams. Take the bottle containing distilled water and pour some distilled water into the beaker. Take the weighed raisins from the balance and put it into the beaker. Allow the raisins to soak for 2 to 3 hours. Take out the swollen raisins from the water using a spatula and put them in a petri dish containing blotting paper. Gently dry the raisins with another blotting paper. Weigh the swollen raisins using the electronic balance and note the weight. In this case, the weight of swollen raisins is 19.160 grams. Therefore, the weight of water absorbed by the raisins can be calculated by subtracting the weight of swollen raisins from the weight of dry raisins. 19.160 minus 12.370 is equal to 6.79 grams. The percentage of water absorbed by the raisins is equal to 6.79 divided by 12.370 times 100, which is 54.89%. Precautions: raisins should be clean and dry and have their stalks intact.
To determine the mass percentage of water imbibed by raisins.
Osmosis is a type of diffusion of solvent, usually water, from higher concentration to lower concentration through a semi-permeable membrane. Endosmosis
is the inward movement of water when the surrounding solution is less concentrated. It leads to swelling and increase in volume.
Exosmosis
is the outward movement of water when the surrounding solution is more concentrated. It causes shrinkage. Starch is a naturally abundant storage form of carbohydrate in plants and animals.
Ma'am, how can we determine the mass percentage of water imbibed by raisins?
Imbibition is a phenomenon by which the living or dead plant cells absorb water by surface attraction. Substances that are made up of cellulose or proteins are hydrophilic, that is, have a strong affinity for water. They imbibe water or moisture and swell up. Example: dry seeds, wooden doors, etc. swell up on contact with water or on exposure to moist air. Due to imbibitional pressure, seed coat ruptures in case of germinating seeds. It is an important force in the ascent of sap. Let's do an experiment to determine the mass percentage of water imbibed by raisins. Our aim here is to determine the mass percentage of water imbibed by raisins. Materials required are raisins, kishmish, water, beaker, glass, petri dish, blotting paper, physical balance, weight box, forceps. Procedure. Take about 25 dry and clean raisins.
Weigh them with a physical balance. Note their mass as M1.
Put the raisins in a petri dish and add some water to it so that raisins are fully immersed. After 2-3 hours, raisins swell up. Remove the swollen raisins from petri dish and place them on a blotting paper for removing the excessive water sticking to their surface. Weigh the swollen raisins. Note their final mass as M2.
Observations.
Due to imbibition, the movement of water takes place into the raisins. Thus, the raisins increase in size. Initial mass of 25 dry raisins. W1
is equal to X gram.
Final mass of swollen raisins. W2
is equal to X gram.
Mass of water absorbed by raisins.
W2 minus W1 is equal to X gram.
Mass percentage of water absorbed by raisins is equal to mass of water absorbed by raisins upon initial mass of raisins multiplied by 100 is equal to
W2 minus W1
upon
W1
multiplied by 100 is equal to
X%.
Result. The percentage of water absorbed by raisins is equal to
X%.
Precautions. Take raisins that have intact stalks. Do not add excessive water, but the raisins should be completely immersed. Do not disturb the setup. Do not tightly pack the raisins. Gently dry out the water present on the outer surface of raisins by rolling these on a blotting paper before taking final observation. Record the weight accurately.
Thank you, ma'am. This experiment has made the concept very easy to understand.